Hello everyone, news summary from Russia. Here, today is 10th of April, now it's 10 to 10 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Kudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very important developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment, and I will start with a short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. According to reports from Russian media and the military channels, Russian armed forces established control over the Pervomayskaya settlement. I reported about it during the previous updates about progress of Russian forces in Pervomayskaya area, and Russian forward units are now closing into Nitailovo. But yesterday there were still some indicators that maybe Ukrainian forces still have some units inside the Pervomayskaya, but yesterday almost all big military channels reported that Pervomayskaya is under full Russian control now, and probably Russian Defense Ministry today or maybe tomorrow will confirm this information. Also, Russian forces increasing pressure on Ukrainian units in Krasnogorovka direction. Of course, Krasnogorovka is the southern flank of Donetsk sector of the front line. Russian forces increasing pressure on Ukrainian units in Novomykhailovka area, which is South Donetsk sector of the front. When it comes to Chisov Yar, Russian forces, as I reported yesterday, already established control over the Bogdanovka. Forward units of Russian forces, according to some reports, are closing into Kalinina, and according to some channels, even are inside the Kalinina, but without video or photo confirmation, of course, difficult to tell. Also, Russian forces further improved their positions in Dachi area on the northern side of Canal district and in eastern side of this district itself. And several military channels reported yesterday afternoon that Russian armed forces are preparing ground to conduct offensive operation, to conduct some pincer movement basically, and conduct offensive from Ivanovskaya towards central parts of Chisov Yar, bypassing Canal district from the southern side. More time is needed to see if Russian forces really are planning such an operation, but in any case, these southern parts of central areas of the Chisov Yar, on main part of the city, on the right bank of the channel itself, are under very heavy bombardment from Russian Air Force, from Russian long-range artillery, which may be indicator definitely that Russian forces probably are planning offensive not just towards Canal district, but also towards the main part of the Chisov Yar. Also, Russian forces further improved their position in Belogorovka area, which is Seversk direction also. And as I predicted, after Avdiivka become under full Russian control, that most likely Seversk direction will be another area of the Russian sectoral level offensive. Probably that's gonna be the case. More and more indicators that Russian forces are planning something big in Seversk direction. Although who knows? Of course, Russian general staff are not sharing information about the plans with us yet. That's how it's supposed to be, of course. All the plans should be kept in secrecy. And well, that's been said, I will continue with some additional news now. And RT is reporting that Russia launches terrorism probe into US and the NATO officials. Intelligence agencies and law enforcement are looking at certain Western government officials as a part of investigation into the funding of the terrorist attacks, such as the massacre at the Crocus City Hall and the bombing of the Nord Stream pipelines, the Russian Investigative Committee announced Tuesday. A probe was launched after referral by several Russian lawmakers, which accused the US and its allies of organizing the March 22 attack on Moscow's concert venue. Well, it's good that the investigation is conducted, and I'm quite sure investigators will find direct links between U.S. officials or Western officials, Western secret services, and the terrorist activity of Kiev regime. I have no doubts about that. After all, by the way, we should always keep in mind that almost all those terrorist organizations that are known worldwide, that were created, was created with the active participation of Western secret services, CIA, MI6, and secret services of the client states of the collective West. And maybe that's why, by the way, this IS terrorist organization is not targeting US, not targeting US allies, which is, it's good that US is not targeted and US allies by terrorists, but questions are arising. If IS has no connections with the US secret services, then how it comes that they are finding time to target Russia and almost never conducting any operations against US interests or Western interests? Quite strange, isn't it? So it is what it is. We all know, by the way, that IS, Al Qaeda, and the rest of these terrorist organizations, all of them are assets of CIA and MI6. It's just open secret, isn't it? And therefore, I believe investigative committee will definitely find direct links between US officials and the terrorist organizations, because those organizations are created and run by assets of US secret services. RT is also reporting that Hunter Biden linked Ukrainian firm connected to the terror attack in Russia, according to Moscow. Biden's family linked Ukrainian business has been named in a criminal probe into the financing of terrorism, Russia's investigative committee announced on Tuesday. The industrial conglomerate Burisma Holdings, which employed Hunter Biden as a highly paid director in 2010, is included among several entities listed by investigators. So, well, by the way, another link between these US officials, these corrupt US officials, Biden and his criminal family, and terrorism. After all, by the way, it was Biden that authorized terrorist attack on Nord Stream pipelines. So maybe after investigation will come up with conclusions, Biden himself will be designated as a terrorist, as he should be, because he is a terrorist, undoubtedly. And Biden's administration basically transferred US into a terrorist state, unfortunately. Biden's administration destroyed completely whatever was left from reputation of the US, and at this point, it is what it is, man. After financing Kiev's terrorist regime, Zelensky's terrorist regime, after conducting terrorist attacks on Nord Stream pipelines, it's obvious that under Biden's administration, US was transformed into terrorist state, into sponsor of terrorism, and maybe Russian side will designate US also as a state sponsor of terrorism, because it's just factual. Unfortunately, it's factual, and members of our community from US, they can express their opinion, what they think, but there is no way around it, isn't it? There is no way around it. It is what it is. RT is reporting that White House response to Russia's terror claims on Biden-linked firm. Washington has insisted there is no reason to search for any other potential suspects beside the Islamic State, after Moscow said it was looking at the certain Western companies and the government officials as a part of an investigation into the funding of a string of terrorist attacks in Russia. The Russian Investigative Committee has established that the funds flowing through commercial organizations, including the oil and gas conglomerate Burisma Holdings, operating in Ukraine have been used in recent years to carry out terrorist attacks in Russia. Spokeswoman of the investigative committee, Svetlana Petrenko, said on Tuesday, and Jake Sullivan, speaking to journalists on Tuesday, National Security Advisor of the Biden, Jake Sullivan, reiterated Washington's narrative on the Crocus City whole atrocity, while dismissing Moscow's allegations, which is not surprising. But yet again, by the way, it's really open secret, isn't it? Under Biden's administration, U.S. have been transformed into terrorist state, unfortunately, and I believe investigative committee, Russian security services will publish their findings, and the entire world will see concrete evidences of involvement of Biden's administration, U.S. government, into terrorism. And not just against Russia, by the way, not just against Russia. Let's wait and see. RIA Novosti is reporting that over the Bryansk region during the nighttime, Russian air defense systems shut down 5 Ukrainian drones. Yet another attempt to conduct terrorist attacks on Russia was neutralized by Russian forces. TASS news agency is also reporting that Russian armed forces conducted a precise strike on point of concentration of Ukrainian forces or Kiev regime forces into Slavyansk. And according to this report, at the moment of the strike, some 400 military personnel of Kiev regime was in the epicenter of strikes. No detailed information about number of casualties, but most likely that number is quite high. RT is reporting that, during one of the precise strikes, Russian armed forces basically destroyed point of concentration of Ukrainian artillery systems. As you can see on this video, over 2 dozen of Soviet-era D-20 howitzers was concentrated in this spot, and after Russian strike, almost all of them were destroyed. Yet again, quite precise strike. And this type of strikes are happening almost on daily basis. One may wonder why Kiev regime was locating all those howitzers in one place. Hard to tell. Maybe those howitzers undergo some repair in this area, and Kiev regime forces were somewhat sure that Russia will not find out about it. Maybe Kiev regime has no more shells for D-20 howitzers, and they were storing those howitzers in this area. Whatever the case, Russian side find out about it and destroy those howitzers. And dear friends, before I continue, I have some announcement to make. And the announcement is that today I made decision to add additional live stream to my programming on YouTube. Unfortunately, due to some technical issues with Rumble, I am unable to make live streams on Rumble with the Telegram reports programs. I don't know, this is issue of Russian internet providers, or Rumble itself has some technical difficulties, but I'm struggling to upload videos on Rumble platform for the last couple of days. Speed of uploading videos is extremely low, and day before yesterday, I was just unable to upload updates there. Of course, I will monitor situation, and whenever Rumble will start working as usual properly, then of course I will continue making live streams on Rumble and uploading videos. I'm gonna try to upload this video also today. Hopefully it will work out. But in any case, I decided to add additional live stream on YouTube, programming, on my YouTube programming today. So on Wednesdays I will have a live stream, and on Sundays, traditional Sunday live stream. And I listen to suggestions of a number of members of our community, and well, during the live stream I will share with you latest news for that moment that will be reported by Russian media, Russian military channels. And after this news update, I will answer to the questions that I will receive on Patreon, on my Patreon page, from Patreon community, from members of our Patreon community, also through Boosty. This is Boosty, by the way, platform, most popular platform among creators, content creators here in Russia, and through PayPal. So from live stream to live stream, if I receive sponsored questions through these platforms, I will answer those questions during the live stream. If there will be no questions, then after news summary, I will end live stream there. I don't know, probably at least members of our community who was suggesting to answer on the sponsored questions that I will receive through these platforms. I mean, hopefully it will work out to make this small media project of mine more sustainable, financially speaking. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical of it, but I will try. And while talking about this project, I remind you, dear friends, that these channels of mine are, and this project is fully subscriber funded. And if you think a channel from Russia needs to exist on YouTube and Rumble, and if you find my work interesting, then please consider to support my work with small donations through Boosty, PayPal, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links are under this video in description box and in the pinned comment. In last 2 days I did not have any donations, so your donation may be there first. Anyway, let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that Ukrainian armed forces use chemical weapons once again in Artyomovsk direction. From drone, these glass kind of bottles were dropped on positions of Russian forces, and one did not break, and Russian side took it into laboratory, and after checking they realized that this is a chemical weapon that was used by Kiev regime forces. Unfortunately, on daily basis we have more and more evidences, more and more indicators that Zelensky and his criminal associates are going wild. They are conducting terrorist attacks on Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. They are using chemical weapons. They are conducting terrorist attacks against civilians whenever they can hit in Russian territory. Unfortunately, just recently, on outskirts of Moscow, Kiev regime conducted this horrible terrorist attack on Crocus City Hall. Kiev regime was involved in organizing and financing the terrorist attack. So definitely some very strong steps needs to be taken from Russian side, and I believe once investigation will come up with final conclusions, most likely Moscow will make all necessary decisions, and all necessary steps will be taken to at least minimize as much as possible this potential of Kiev regime to conduct this terrorist activity. RIA Novosti is reporting that head of Gagauzia, Evgenia Gutsul, made a statement that if Chisinau will deploy its troops into Gagauzia Autonomous Republic in Moldova, then Gagauzia will ask for help Russian Federation. And Gutsul, head of Gagauzia Autonomous Republic of Moldova, earlier stated that if Moldova's current government will make decision or conduct some steps towards joining Romania, then Gagauzia will declare its independence from Moldova. So situation is escalating in Moldova. As it was expected, I was reporting about this possibility quite a number of times previously in my updates, and seems like Moldova is definitely heading towards further disintegration. Transnistria is already claiming independence from Moldova for decades now, and Gagauzia is very close to declare its independence also. RT reports that, well, according to Foreign Minister of Germany, Patriot reserves are exhausted. Ukraine urgently needs more air defense missiles, but Berlin does not have any to give, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said on Tuesday. Russian side was quite effective in terms of destruction of Western-made air defense systems that was transferred to Kiev regime, and it is not surprising at all that at this point, Kiev regime is experiencing severe lack of not just missiles for Western-made air defense systems, but launchers, radars, and everything basically. And of course, Washington knows this perfectly well, and according to TASS news agency, US green-lighted contract to deliver to Kiev regime, contract for $138 million to deliver to Kiev regime some kits for maintenance of Hawk air defense systems. It will not make a huge change or even significant change on the line of contact, because before these kits will arrive in Ukraine, probably those Hawks air defense systems will be destroyed or nothing will be left from them. In any case, unfortunately, Washington continues its support to terrorists. TASS news agency is reporting that according to Foreign Ministry of United Kingdom, London and Washington achieve progress on topic of transferring frozen Russian assets to Kyiv regime. London and Washington basically agreed to steal Russian assets, frozen Russian assets. Okay, are anybody surprised by this? Of course not. Of course not. Everyone understands perfectly well that one day or another, today or tomorrow, but Western ruling class will basically steal these frozen assets. It's just... Interfax news agency is reporting that, Defense Minister of Israel made a statement that there is not official date for now for operation in Rafah, Israeli military operation in Rafah to take place. Earlier, several media outlets reported that Washington demanded from Israel explanations on topic of Rafah offensive, and Israel did not share any information according to those reports with Washington. And today we have this statement from Defense Minister of Israel, Yoav Gallant, who said that Israel itself yet don't know, Israeli government itself yet don't know exact date when Rafah offensive will begin. I don't know, can we trust anything that Israeli defense minister says? Probably not. But in any case, quite a strange situation now in regards to statements from Israel, because and reports from Israel, because a few days ago there were reports that only one brigade will remain in southern Gaza and the rest of the Israeli forces leaving that area. Then Netanyahu made a statement that Israel is ready and has a time frame in the place of offensive in Rafah, where according to Israeli government, several Hamas battalions are located. And then US demanded some explanation, some information from Israel, and we have now statement from Israel Defense Ministry that there is no precise information right now when Israel will conduct its operation against Rafah. And I remind you, dear friends, that according to humanitarian organizations, according to independent sources, media sources, in Rafah at this point, which is southern Gaza Strip, some 1.5 million people are concentrated, and there is extremely high risk that if Israeli defense forces will conduct large-scale military operation in Rafah, then casualty numbers will be as high or even higher than during Israeli offensive on Gaza or on the northern part of the Gaza Strip. RT is reporting that according to London-based Arabic outlet, Israel is ready to attack Iranian nuclear sites. So if Tehran responds to the Damascus embassy attack by bombing Israel, West Jerusalem will launch strikes against the Iranian nuclear program. A London-based Arabic outlet has reported citing anonymous Western security officials. And of course, we all know that during the previous week, two generals of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or Quds Force, and several other officers were killed in the Israeli airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus. And everybody, or let's say entire world now, is kind of stuck in the situation when everyone expects retaliatory strikes from Iran, although no one knows on what scale this response will be, when and how. And we have now kind of warning from Israel that if Iran will target Israeli territory, then Israeli side is willing to conduct strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. More indicators about more reasons to, more indicators that Middle East is extremely close to full-scale regional war. RT is reporting that AUKUS members considering security deal with Japan. Japan could soon join the US, UK and Australia in the AUKUS security partnership to facilitate the transfer of military technology in areas including cyber warfare, artificial intelligence, quantum technology, undersea drones and hypersonic capabilities. Although, by the way, at this point there is no talks about Japan becoming full member of AUKUS, but there will be some high level of partnership with Japan, based on which US, UK and Australia will transfer military technologies and probably some weapon systems to Tokyo. Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that, German journalists, by the way, receive asylum in Russia. Dagmar Hen, German journalist, made apply for asylum, made the decision to stay in Russia, and she received asylum. Quite interesting, isn't it? There was times when Western world was seen as a land of free and where basic rights, basic human rights were protected, where freedom of speech was one of the main principles, and now tables are turned around, isn't it? And we have this type of information. The German journalist feels like she cannot go back to Germany and work freely and safely there, and are applying for asylum in Russia. I'm not surprised at all, by the way. Not surprised at all with this woke culture, with this crazy neoliberal ideology being forcefully imposed on public in the West, and when everyone sees extreme levels of indoctrination with these crazy ideologies in the West, especially on youth, and when simultaneously when we see that if you are opposing this craziness from these neolibs, you may get cancelled, you may lost your job, your business. Of course, Western collective West, for these and many other reasons, by the way, collective West no longer can be seen as a safe haven for freedom of speech or basic rights. It's just, you know, after all, we all know story of Julian Assange. I mean, individual for journalism have been jailed illegally, absolutely illegally. And by the way, finally, I will report about this news that today at 12 o'clock Moscow time, first launch will take place of Russian new generation heavy rocket Angara A5. This launch should take place yesterday, but for some technical reasons, launch was postponed. And according to latest information, today, 12 o'clock Moscow time, Angara A5 rocket should be launched from Russian Vostochny Cosmodrome. So, well, hopefully launch will take place today and launch will be a success. And this is it for now. Quite short update. Hopefully you will find it informative and interesting, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything. Let's challenge algorithm once again. It's becoming more and more difficult to deal with this algorithm, by the way, but let's try our best. Likes and comments definitely will help with this, and for very same reason, to deal with the algorithm and reach wider audience, if you can please share links to my videos or my channels with your friends on any of the platforms that you are actively using. And well, finally, if you think this channel is interesting, useful, informative, has some potential and deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me Boosty. By the way, I'm still struggling to not to say this Buy Me Coffee. By the way, I was cancelled there. I don't have Buy Me Coffee no more page there. Boosty, PayPal, Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon. All the links under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.